In February 2018, I got diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. The doctors found a large tumor in my chest that was surrounding my heart and infecting my spine. Aggressive chemotherapy was the only option the doctors were giving me. Either way, I was told that remission was virtually impossible and that I only had 2 months left to live.
Xavier, you have an amazing story. You must have been very devastated when they told you you only had 2 months to live.
It was a bit of a shock for me at first. I didn't want to believe it. I didn't feel sick at all when all this happened, except a couple of symptoms, which is why I went to the doctor in the first place. And I then went 3 days in the hospital and we did all those tests, and all I could think of was my children.
How old are your children?
My oldest boy is 9 years old, and my 2 girls are 4 and 6.
So you decided not to follow the doctor's advice and start chemo straight away? Why was that?
The list of possible side effects was horrible. Because I was stage 4 and it was in my chest, the possible side effects would be life-threatening for my heart and my lungs. And I would have been too sick to enjoy the last few months with my children. And I was sure that there has to have another way.
What do you mean there had to be another way?
Well, I always believed that nature is best. So I started looking in different diets, exercise, natural healing, alternative treatment. I even went and asked some friends that I knew were into spirituality and energy work. I was ready to try just about anything, really. I couldn't let myself just lie down and die, because to me, death was not an option.
From your research, what did you end up doing?
My research showed me at first that I had high level of mercury and heavy metal, and I didn't eat any fish at the time, which didn't make sense to me, but then I realized that it was coming from non-organic produce with all the pesticide and herbicide they use. So my first step was to throw away all my fresh produce and processed food, and I went and bought organic fresh produce straight away. We are here at these more farmers markets because when I decided to go organic, this is one of the markets I had the most certified organic produce. I had to go extremely organic because what's not organic does bring me a lot of heavy metal in my system, which is a factor of the cancer. And I came here to get all these greens, leaves and zucchinis because the green has a less sugar and carbohydrate content in them, which was helping me to the ketogenic diet and what I was going to try to minimize all the food for the cancer itself.
So did anything that you tried help at all?
So several natural therapists which were specialized in cancer treatment. They sold me a lot of supplements, tonics, teas, and charged very high fees and promised me that it would be a cure, it's gonna work, all that stuff. But nothing has worked at all. Every 3 weeks I went to see my doctors to do new scans, and we could just see the tumor keep growing and spreading.
How much did all of this cost you?
I was spending over $1,000 a week, supplement and all the natural treatment I was doing. I stretched my lifespan of 4 months, but during that time I spent over $20,000, which was my whole savings, and I was completely broke at that time. I couldn't feed my children, couldn't feed myself. Luckily I had friends that supported me through it and bought me food for me and my children. I even went and started doing a online crowdfunding to try to survive and keep paying for treatment. That was the lowest point of my life. I was going through depression and a lot of pain. I almost was ready to give up.
So what was going through your mind at this time?
I couldn't help but ask myself, why is this happening to me? Was it my lifestyle, my diet, karma, or something else? I'm an African drummer and I used to play a lot of gigs, which led me to a lot of parties and excess of alcohol.
So why do you believe this was happening to you?
I went to a retreat for past trauma releasing, and there I find out why is it coming from. For many years in my childhood, I've been physically abused, and I got kicked out of the house at age 15. And at that time, I blocked my heart to any kind of love coming in or out. I just protected myself for all these years till now. And when you look at where the tumor has been formed, which is all around the house, I realized that it was a metaphysical thing and that it was due to all these traumas that I was carrying for so many years.
Wow, I'm very sorry to hear that, Xavier. Very sorry.
That's okay, Mirna. My journey with cancer showed me that I had a lot of healing to do, and I'm still do. I got very lucky that quite a bit of my friends were working in this area and they were able to give me free crystal healing, chakra activating, the past trauma releasing, and very, very grateful that I managed to work and reopen my heart. I was more at peace and accepting what was happening to me, and I realized that more the dramas were disappearing and I started having a stress-free life, which was really enjoyable.
Then I do believe you found something that started to help?
Yes, I did. 4 months after my first diagnosis, a friend of mine introduced me to this amazing product called Stem Enhance Ultra by Cerol. It's an algae that promotes the stem cells from your own bone marrow into your bloodstream. When I started taking that product, after 4 days, I finally felt no pain for the first time in 9 months. So I knew it was working.
Wow, that's incredible. You must have thought that you found the answer.
Yes, I was so excited at the time because I refused to take any kind of painkillers because I didn't want to have any kind of interference with the natural therapies. And also because I tried to keep active and walking about 5 kilometers a day and moving my body, I needed to feel the pain. I would know that I did something wrong with my spine with the damage of the tumor. I also stopped all other supplements, and instead of paying over $1,000 a week in treatment, which hasn't shown me much results, I then used only the stem cells nutrition, which has cost me just $55 a week and showed me some amazing results straight away, and I'm still using it today.
Then I believe things took a turn for the worst.
Yes, it did. After about a week, I had an excruciating pain in my chest. It felt like I got stabbed from the inside out of my body through the rib cage. I was in bed and I couldn't move. My housemate had to call the ambulance and they put me in emergency at the hospital, gave me some morphine, and we realized that I had what we call a pericardial infusion. It's a pocket of acid formed around the heart due to the lymph node inflamed all around my chest and the tumor on the heart. And that pocket of lactic acid was about 3.4 centimeters wide all around it, and the heart slowly stopped beating. That's where the pain came from.
Xavier, that must have been frightening.
It was extremely frightening. I saw that was the end. I'm going to die that day. My heartbeat stopped for about 2 minutes, and 1 more minute and I would be declared dead. This is when I had the near-death experience.
And it was after that you decided to start chemotherapy?
During my near-death experience, I saw my children, which brought me back. From that point, I knew that everything is going to be fine. However, the doctors didn't want to prescribe it and told me that it was too late. So they told me to go home and die, which I refused to believe it and just insisted.
Did you suffer any side effects during chemo?
With the protocol I did, The doctors told me that I was pretty much certain to suffer from a life-threatening heart and lung infection. I haven't suffered from any life-threatening side effects. Only a few minor, but none of them were life-threatening. They just were painful at time, but that's it.
What else did you do while you were on chemo?
Everything that I could do to remain positive and active. I had a lot of support from my children, my friends. I was at the hospital about 1 week out of 3, and I was walking at the back of the Tweed Hospital at about 3 kilometers a day on the Tweed River, reading my drip with me, and I was meditating, keeping a journal, and of course I never stopped taking a daily dose of stem cell nutrition. When I was here at the Tweed Hospital, getting chemo for 6 months, the first 2 months I came here every 2 weeks, and after that it was every 21 days, and every time it was the injection time was a full week at the hospital, every day getting injected and checked on, and so it was quite full on. It was very hard. The motivation wasn't so much there, but this river kept me going, and every time I went, after treatment, between treatment, every time I could get on my foot and get out, I was just taking my drips with me and walking around this river and trying to get my lymphatic system going, just trying to be okay with what's going on and not trying to feel so much about the chemo as such killing me, but more as helping me getting better. And I was just blessing it. Sit there and spend as much time as I could, breathing the air and just thinking and trying to imagine me in good health and keep up with life. And coming here was giving me more strength into my believing of being better from it, really. And that was what kept me sane during that time. If I were going to stay in my bed all day, every day, I would have been going crazy and depressed for sure. This is really what kept me going.
And what were the results?
In November 2018, I had my last chemotherapy injection. And in December the 21st, 2018, I got diagnosed in full remission, which was awesome. And during the 6 months of chemotherapy treatment, I had a lot of energy and I was quite active. After a chemo injection, an hour later, I would go and play a gig, or I would go and walk for 3 kilometers on the beach, or I would do something that would keep me going. My blood count was pretty high, almost like someone without a cancer, or at least not undergoing a chemotherapy protocol. Also, 18 months after my first diagnosis, my spine is fully restored.
Wow, Xavier, that's really amazing. What do you believe really helped you achieve this?
To me, I think everything has its role in my healing. There is no doubt that the chemotherapy has killed the tumor, but also there is no doubt that the stem cell nutrition has helped my body to regenerate all the organs that were destroyed by the chemotherapy and keep me alive. But also all the energy, work and healing that I've done has helped me in a personal level, which I think is really important too.
How did the doctors respond to your results?
They were really happy for me, but they didn't want to hear about anything to do with nutrition or lifestyle or energy work that would have helped my healing. I even went and asked them to be a part of this movie, but they refused it completely.
So it seems this experience has changed you for the better?
Absolutely. A painful and a terrifying experience, but very grateful for the healing. Not just for the cancer, but also for my life. It has brought me to this point where I think I am a better person than I used to be. I've got different priorities. I still love to playing drum, but definitely lost interest in partying and alcohol.
So Xavier, what's next for you?
From my experience, I believe that cancer or any disease is not just physical, it's also mental, emotional, and metaphysical. I believe that I had cancer for a reason, but also I believe that I survived for a reason. And from now, I just want to help as many people as I possibly can.
Is this why making this movie, Remission Impossible, is so important to you?
When I was going through treatment, I saw so many people dying and suffering from the side effects of the chemo, and they were losing hope. And I know by my experience, recovery from stage 4 cancer in less than a year is something unheard before. And I believe that what I have done, it's worth closer examination because it just might help others to do the same. What I'm talking about in this trailer is only a small part of my journey. I would like to create a full documentary because I believe it will help and inspire a lot of people. There is another way. You don't have to give up. Cancer is not a death sentence.